Today I'm going to read to you something that I have written. It's called the Presidential Platform for 2008 to 2012, JD's campaign. The most important thing must be first and foremost, the American public must come first. Their individual rights and privileges must and will be protected. And remember, our government must serve the American public, not the American public serves the government. We all must understand our government has become a welfare case on the American citizen. Both its size and structure, our government has become a megaloth burden. An enormous cancer of government we call the federal government must and shall be reduced in size, power, and authority. A medical system, before we send medical aid to countries around the world, first we must make sure all Americans have medical treatment. B, before we build another nation's infrastructure, make sure our roads and highways are the best they can be. Our electrical grids are top-notch standards. C, before we educate students of other nations, make sure our students receive the best possible education and the American student has the best equipment and classroom to learn from. D, before we pay companies to make employment overseas to third world countries, make sure every American that wants a job has one. Promote companies that build the job market within the United States, like those who build in the third world. 2. Develop our nation and other resources to their fullest. Plus, remember, hydrogen is and will be the only true non-pollutant there is as of now. Next, A. First and foremost, start looking to develop our use of hydrogen for all sorts of energy products. The only product given off in burning hydrogen is pure water. We should be a leader in oil production, not a lagger, holding back, and the level of oil available to us and the world. Yet, we must ensure all drilling is done completely correct and done so that the Gulf mess done in the spring of 2010 now never ever happens again. C, we have to and should use our knowledge of nuclear energy and produce much more electrical power via that way. Coal should be developed to allow its maximum usage, though it is the most pollutant of all, and we need to ensure to reduce the pollutants. Sun power generation should become a major source of our energy producing elements through technology. Has a long way to go and yet is very promising. Wind development for electrical power must be considered and a priority put upon it. Geothermal energy, like at Yellowstone Park, would provide vast amounts of power heating far into our future. Our electrical grids must be improved upon. These new sources of power, to where it is developed, will vastly need to be routed throughout the country. Our forests must be managed so that they provide a safe environment for nature and the human race, which can exist alongside by side. The farming of our woodland would produce much more of a pleasing area, while protecting all wildlife and protecting our forests from major forest fires, which kills all and everything. Remember, the number one pollutant within this world is plastic and the things made from plastic. Move our nation to the 23rd century. Look to newer ways to provide energy and fuels for our society, different avenues for our needs, and here is some examples. Number 1, hydrogen-powered vehicles, battery-powered automobiles, solar-powered transportation. The difference between hydrogen-powered, battery-powered, and solar power is hydrogen gives off only pure water. Battery cells are a pollutant. Solar power panels made of plastic are a pollutant. Turn to our science to advance our livelihood. and at the same time prevent those from hindering our development. Examples: major companies buy up patents only to kill them from becoming reality. Our taxes needs to be completely redone. We need to take the tax burden off the shoulders of the American worker and place our tax burden upon our economy. Thus, Congress will be forced to promote our economy, vice enslave the men and women that work within this nation. The income tax must now die, and within its ashes shall arise the phoenix known as the sales tax. Plus, we need to look at also how to lower the tax burden. There must be more things to reduce the tax burden on the individual. Less federal government. We need to reduce the size of the federal government. It has become a cancer, taking over everything it touches. Yes, we should set high standards like education, and yes, the federal government has the right to see to it that these standards are kept. But yet it should allow the local governments to implement the programs and actually do the testing. A medical program allowing full medical for everyone in this country, all in this country, should have an outstanding medical, and it can be done. Not this insurance regulation fraud. Here is an example. Have all hospitals have a full open clinic. This is but an example, which would be open to all in the country. Have the clinics run, for example, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Make the clinic ran and operated using new interns. People with insurance would have no deductible once they displayed the insurance card. Everyone else who don't have insurance would have an insurance fee, a small user fee. Okay. Our government wants to believe our Social Security system is an entitlement. It is not. When we actually pay for it, every single red cent. The truth is, our government, Congress, believes that the tax dollars are free money. Our government thinks it can do what it wants with the money that it takes from us and not be responsible to the American people. That must end. Congress, you need to learn how to keep your word and quit crying. Your will and answers crying about entitlements with things like Social Security is not an entitlement, but an agreement between the government of the United States and American people who pay for it in advance, and you are too cheap to pay for it back. Social Security will not be touched and remain solvent, even if the United States government has to use every red cent it raises to ensure Social Security. The final words are that all that I do will be based on 3 words: truth, freedom, and justice. The individual rights and privileges must be and will be protected.